Florida lawmakers moving forward with mid-decade congressional redistricting, their special session beginning this morning.
Our Capitol Bureau reporter Cody Butler was there as lawmakers debated and opponents protested.
Florida lawmakers are on track to approve a widely unpopular congressional map proposed by Governor Ron DeSantis. House Speaker Daniel Perez says that's all they're doing this week, as state lawmakers begin the first of several special sessions. Hundreds of people from across Florida were outside urging lawmakers to keep the congressional districts how they are.
They continue to peddle, different reasons and rationales for why they should move forward on this.
Florida is just the latest state to redraw congressional districts, starting with Texas, setting a chain reaction of similar moves in other states, leading to the voter approval last week of Virginia's new map. Equal Ground's Genesis Robinson's reminding lawmakers Florida's Fair District Amendment bans drawing maps for political gain.
This is the type of political gamesmanship that they were trying to stop when they passed the Fair District Amendments.
The map from Governor Ron DeSantis breaks up several districts held by Democrats around Tampa, Orlando, and South Florida. Party Chair Nikki Fried says it makes Republicans more vulnerable.
So what they have done is not only pissed off the people of our state, but they've also given us an opportunity to not only protect the 8 that are currently in the Democratic coalition, but also to pick up 2 to 3 more.
Republicans maintain they haven't looked at politics with these maps.
We haven't reviewed political performance of any of the districts. You will not see a color-coded map presented in committee.
Representative Jeanette Persons-Mulliculla is carrying the new map in the House. She says the new map is fair.
Within our prerogative and our discretion to take up mid-district or mid-cycle redistricting, and in light of changing jurisprudence in the state of Florida, we feel confident in moving forward. We've reviewed the map.
Redistricting isn't the only issue included in this special session.
So the bill passes.
The Senate passed the same AI Bill of Rights that passed during the regular session, but Speaker Daniel Perez says the lower chamber won't be taking it up this week.
There were no bills filed on these policies prior to the start of this special session. Consequently, we will not be taking up those issues.
Lawmakers are expected to vote on the map on Wednesday and then head home until the next special session. In Tallahassee, I'm Cody Butler reporting.